What's your opinion towards endangered species?
My opinion towards endangered species is that it's not getting enough attention and that it's an important issue that should be taken into consideration because if the loss of species is happening quickly, it also affects other parts of our environment.
What precautions can be taken into consideration to improve endangered species?
I think an important thing is adding media attention towards this because most people don't know that endangered species is like a rising factor and problem in our environment, and also it'll help humans know that this is part of their fault because most humans are the cause to this problem.
Do you think human activity has a big influence on endangered species?
I do. I think that humans are a big factor in this because humans are like coaling and mining and fracking, which doesn't help because most animals like have a loss of habitat because of those.
Lastly, what is the importance of private lands to endangered species?
Private lands will help like the species with adding like reproduction and better food sources.
The Endangered Species Act was implemented in the United States. The Act aspires to prevent extinction, recover imperiled plants and animals, and protect the ecosystems on which they depend. This directly correlates with national parks. The parks themselves not only can serve as a home for thousands of species, but also as an outdoor classroom to learn how these species interact. We watch these species grow, heal, and reproduce. National parks have guaranteed protection, but they still may need help from humans. There are also many projects going on around the world to help areas that are not protected by being a national park, but they are very important in helping endangered species. The climate change problems are also directly harming species and habitats around the world. In the Arctic, polar bears are becoming extinct due to the loss of ice. This is also forcing them to change their diet and hunt on land, eating birds and their eggs. This could soon cause some Arctic species of birds to rapidly become endangered. With temperatures rising, birds are seasonally migrating sooner. The places they migrate to may be too cold for them to survive when they travel. Another big habitat being impacted by is coral reefs. They are being directly destroyed due to increasing water temperature, and this is causing coral to die and other fish and coral reefs to become endangered. When you're traveling, do you ever see signs or billboards about endangered species?
Definitely. I see a lot of signs that say like beware there are endangered species in this area, or please don't like come near or harm this area because animals are struggling to live. I think especially when I'm golfing there are a lot of signs for endangered species, and I try not to hit my ball in those areas anyway, but when I do I make sure to just leave it alone.
Now, obviously you take precautions, but do you think other people would be as caring as you would be?
I would hope so. I mean, when I see signs like that, like it definitely affects me. So I would venture to say that it would affect other people similarly, but I can't speak on behalf of other people, but it definitely leaves an impact on me.
And you think there should be a certain punishment for people affecting endangered species?
Definitely. I think that people should be fined for trying to harm endangered species, just like they're fined for littering or any other sort of damage to the environment or climate.
Yeah, and on a bigger scale, companies through like deforestation or oil drilling, do you think there should be a higher fine for them?
For sure. I think large corporations are pretty detrimental to the environment overall. So if they're willing to harm such a large amount of animals or climate or like group of like a species or anything like that, they should be willing to take the same sort of heat that they're putting on the environment.
Going into more detail about the Endangered Species Act, it was created in 1973 as an extension of the Endangered Species Preservation Act, which came 9 years before and it only gave limited protection. Now, this act protects all species, both plants and animals, as well as their habitats and the surrounding environment. Once a species is on the list of endangered species, it can't be hunted, harmed, shot, killed, trapped, sold, or traded for any kind of monetary value. Many species have been very well protected and their population is now growing. We also found out that without the Endangered Species Act, the bald eagle would most likely not be around today because its habitat used to be severely threatened by by hunters. Our national bird was removed from the endangered species list in 2007 and is now on the rise.
Have you ever heard of the Endangered Species Act? If so, explain what it is.
I've heard of the Endangered Species Act, and it's just from my understanding, just a act to save and protect endangered animals in the U.S. and countrywide. That it's really important to take care of them, and this act really puts some laws in action to protect them.
Amen.
Do you know why so many species are becoming endangered?
So many species are being endangered because of the encroaching of humans into their habitat. That a lot of these animals have a natural habitat area but are losing their land because of buildings, farms, everything are coming in, and so that's one of the main reasons why animals are becoming endangered.
A proposed solution that has been brought up from past researchers is whether or not that we pick and choose which species to save. Some species may be beneficial to the world than others. Example is ants. They may distribute seeds, soil, anything like that. Just people aren't aware of what they actually do. It's more of a popularity vote for people. Humans only kind of know what goes on from zoos and things like that. And humans only kind of depend on like what the species look like, if they're cute and fuzzy. And also, this is only a proposed solution because it's a cost. It's a big factor. For example, the Atlantic Salmon Federation is worth $255 million. So whether or not to pick and choose which species may also be a long process, but may be a huge factor in the cost. Also, educating people. It's tough creating a movement towards endangered species when people don't know the problem and aren't educated about endangered species. Humans aren't understanding like how many of our needs are similar as their needs, and we're just kind of taking them away from farms, buildings, fracking, things like that. It's as simple as going to websites, social media, anything to learn about endangered species. That's just something we may be having weaknesses towards and something we need to progress on. And then just being aware of your surroundings. It's just knowing where to be and where not to be to not endanger those species, and it's just something we need to improve on. They could pick and choose which species to save that would be more beneficial to the world. Would you want that, and explain?
I think that if we tried to save all endangered species, that process would be kind of too elaborate and long, and if we focused on certain species that would benefit the entire ecosystem as a whole, that may be more beneficial, even though it would come at the cost of losing some of the endangered species.
And do you think people should be more educated about our endangered species around us, and why?
Yeah, I think definitely if people were more educated, it would at least get them more interested. I mean, if they realize that how much of an impact it has on their ecosystem, not just the animals themselves, it would be kind of a wake-up call.
Yeah.